My turn? Well, it's great to be here in a room filled with people who are, I know, committed to real change in public education. You know, I am too. And I know that we've all been really disappointed over the slow pace of change over the past 25 years. I mean, you know, here we are, it's 2009, and people are still calling for radical change in American education. You know, this is pathetic. You know, we've been doing this forever. It just means that we've basically failed. Well, we've finally gotten lucky. And the reason we're lucky is that we happen to live in a very unique historical time. The world is in the midst of a revolution in information technology that is fundamentally transforming human society all around the world. The way people communicate with one another, right? The way they interact, the way they do business, the way they get knowledge, the way they use knowledge. Everything is being transformed everywhere. And this can't help but have profound consequences for the way kids learn, for the way teachers teach, for the way schools are organized, right? So this is the benefit side, and it's pretty much the side that has been emphasized here so far. And that is going to do a lot to drive what is going to be a revolution in American education, actually in worldwide education. The benefits are not enough, and I'll explain why, but they're a big part of it. So very quickly, you know, what does the benefit side look like? I mean, they've already talked, Susan and Curtis have already talked about it, so I won't go into it in much detail, but very quickly, because of technology, we can actually customize education to the individual child. That is just a mind blower if you think about it. Who would ever have thought that we can do that? Right? Historically, it's always been a teacher and, you know, 30 kids or something like that, and was like, you can't change that. You can change that, right? Every child can have math and reading and history and whatever taught to that particular child's needs. They can move through at their own pace. They can get remedial training as they move through. They can be evaluated at every step along the way. They can take whatever kinds of courses they want. It's unbelievable what is possible, right? And it's such a departure from the standardized curriculum, right? The way school is taught now is just outmoded. It really is. We're right at the beginning of this, but in another 10 years it'll be obvious. It's just outmoded. Okay, the second thing is social equity. It doesn't matter because of technology where you live. You can live in downtown Detroit or in Appalachia or in Africa. Wherever you live and whoever you are, you know, whatever your race is, whatever your gender is, whatever your ethnicity, however much money your parents make, you can have access to the best curriculum there is in the world, to the best lectures, to whatever classes you want. It's all there for you. And your background and your location are not limitations anymore. This is a profound thing that's never been true ever. And we're right on the verge of making this happen. The third thing is cost. In the history of the world, the driver of productivity across all industries has been technology and the substitution of technology for labor. It's the key to the whole thing, right? But there are some industries where that hasn't been possible. Big parts of government, right, are immune to that. Sometimes inherently. There's nothing you can do about it, sort of, right? So they just get like less and less efficient over time compared to everything else. Well, education has been one of those. People have always said, well, you can't substitute technology for labor. And they have one teacher and 30 kids, and that's just the way it is. And that has been the way it is. Right? So we get technological innovation and growth and productivity and efficiency and all that in other industries, but not in education. Well, that's over. Now we can substitute technology for labor in education. Computers can do a lot of the teaching. Not all of it, but a lot of it. And when you can substitute technology for labor, labor is very expensive. Right? Technology is cheap, and it's getting cheaper. This is huge. We can lower the cost of education dramatically over time. And we can increase the productivity of labor and of schools enormously over time by doing this. And it works. Even now it works. The research shows that it's at least as good as traditional education. And we're at the beginning. In another 10 years or 20 years, you know, there won't be any contest. Okay, so if you look around, there's been explosive growth already. You know, half the states have state-level virtual schools. There are a couple hundred virtual charter schools out there, 100,000 kids going to virtual charters. There are increasingly hybrids, you know, sort of mix traditional education and online education. That's probably where most people are going to want to be long term. Fine. The question is, where is this going to go? Right? How far can the benefits drive this? It's obviously beneficial, right? And the obvious problem is, well, precisely because it's transformative, it's threatening. It's threatening to the powers that be, to the unions, and to many districts. Right? If kids go to virtual charters, they're taking money and kids and jobs with them. Well, the unions don't want that. So they're going to try to stop this. And most districts don't want that. They don't want to lose kids. Okay, so this becomes a political problem. This is a political matter, right? And so what's been happening is that these powerful forces have tried to stop the advance of technology through the political process. Okay, this is not unusual. This is what they've been doing for 25 years. This is the story of American education reform. Right? For 25 years, reformers have been trying to get real accountability, real school choice, right? Pay for performance. Just tried to get bad teachers out of the classroom, right? Basic things. And what happens? Powerful forces, mainly the unions, have been able to block these things or just eviscerate them in the political process so that what comes out is a pale reflection of what reformers really wanted. Right? That's the story of American education, the politics of blocking. And now it's technology. Well, now they're blocking technology. Right? Making it very difficult for these things to get through. That's the problem. This is not a market. It's not like you can just, and this is the only difference that Curtis and I have. I think in the end we come out of the same place, is that disruptive innovation is not enough. It's about politics and power. It's not like people are going to say, oh, well, if technology is good for kids, then let's do it. That's not the way it works. Right? It's not the way it works. Right? If it's threatening to powerful groups, they're going to try to stop it. They are trying to stop it right now.